everyone, it's Skiesti. If you're new here and don't know who I am, I'm a top 500 Mercy streamer and I offer VOD reviews over at my Ko-fi. Today we've got another different sort of VOD review. This is from an Ana player that's interested in improving their Mercy and being able to play her better. They're a Grandmaster peak Ana, their current SR is Diamond, and they don't play Mercy too often. This player struggles mainly with decision making, when to use Valkyrie, how to position, and they mention that they can't super jump smoothly yet. Although super jump isn't necessary to climb with Mercy, I know Mercy players who have done without. It can be incredibly beneficial still when it comes to being able to access high ground without completely relying on your team. And without further ado, let's help this Ana player improve their Mercy gameplay. Starting with your team composition, Ana will be taking care of tanks, Doomfist will be doing his own thing for the most part, and you'll be playing with your soldier. Once the gates open, I would prep positioning and try not to be out in the open just in case, since you don't know what they're running yet. Ideally, you play a little further up. I normally position close to the wall so that I can stay in beam range easier. Once Soldier dies, I would turn attention toward Doomfist first since he's missing health, and then Ana after if she takes damage. When they have dive on Nimbani, something I'll do in case they dive that bridge is hover Guardian Angel around the edge, like off the side, so that if they dive, I shouldn't take damage since I'm not clumped up on the bridge itself with my team. So I see what you mean about not being able to super jump consistently or smoothly quite yet. Ideally, you want to hit this super jump and get to the bridge again to be able to be in range to assist. Pay attention to your res timers. Be generally aware of if you're not going to be able to get the res or not. It would be great in general if you were on high ground and assisting your soldier from there. It's just a bit safer for you. Since you have prefer beam target on, it should be relatively easy to follow soldier when he's being primal. Just make sure that when you're assisting him, you're making guardian angels that keep you in beam range, don't put you in too much danger, so just don't get too close. I think if this was like a slightly higher elo, you probably would have died here. This does work out, but I think the ideal pathing here goes somewhat like this. So you still bait Monkey's jump so that you can Guardian Angel to res, and after that, GA halfway to Ana to get out of Monkey's primary range. Allow your regen passive to kick in, and then GA back to Soldier on high ground to assist. Super jump to high ground, assist from there as it's safer than the slingshot that you do here. I would encourage you to try to practice super jumping a little bit more to get comfortable with it, to use it to get to high ground where you're safer. It comes in handy especially if you're playing against a dive comp like this. When Valk ends, position on the high ground instead of the middle of point where there is still fighting going on. Ana has a sightline down main to assist those that are still pushing up. It's not on you to help them. Right now you should be setting up with your soldier for next fight. Since enough time has passed since the last fight, the enemy should be back for another one. You know they have dive and will be diving this top walkway. When Soldier walks up to do damage, try to play either Guardian Angeling off the side, super jumping up, or playing a bit wider on the walkway to keep some distance to reduce your damage taken. Guardian Angel a little sooner so that beam doesn't disconnect. And again here, GA a little sooner so beam doesn't disconnect. You should be able to do it and take minimal damage, if at all any. Okay, it's not ideal that Soldier ends up positioned where he is. And can I just say, I hate prefer beam target, especially for situations like this. Because ideally, you'd Guardian Angel to your tanks on the high ground while beam is on Doomfist to heal him up, and then you could either hover through main or try to get to the left high ground to be able to assist Soldier's visor, even if it's just a little bit. Now, you can still do that, but it means you have to be quick with detaching, reattaching your beam, and it reduces beam uptime, and it's just kind of annoying, especially if you're not necessarily able or used to making those quick switches or movements. Yes, prefer facing target has its bugs and it can be kind of annoying, but it gives you so many more options and so much more freedom. There's kind of no reason not to use it except for like some bugs here and there, but yeah, that's a whole other topic. Anyway. Help Doomfist instead of Guardian Angeling to Ana. You should be able to clean up the fight with him as long as you stay a decent range away. Here's the thing, this is common in a lot of VOD reviews, but Mercy players tend to be late on making decisions. Granted, they make them eventually, but it should be happening earlier. This is a good example here because you GA away to Ana and then go back main to assist after. There's a few seconds here during the time you take to Guardian Angel to Ana, where you could have just GA'd to Doomfist and been there earlier to help. You get there eventually, but it can be and should be done sooner. This res is a little scary because you've got 2 tanks and an Ana like shoved in that room and you could take too much damage during the res. You do manage to get the res, but it means Ana has to burn nano on him so that he can get out alright instead of potentially using it elsewhere. The ideal situation here, I think, goes something like this. You help Doomfist earlier and you hopefully prevent his death, or he's able to get his ult with your assistance and get out like that. The fight gets cleaned up, Soldier sprints back from spawn, Ana keeps nano and is able to use it on someone else to keep them alive through Nano Blade when it comes through. This short Guardian Angel makes it so you don't have GA in time to try to kite Nano Blade, so I would recommend either GAing over to your Soldier and playing that side, or to super jump to the high ground in hopes of getting enough height to keep away from Blade. Since Ana doesn't quite have a proper sightline on Ryan yet, you can heal him just a little once Soldier is okay. Playing this low ground here is pretty awkward. It makes you an easy target for things like Tracer's pulse bomb attempts. Try to play closer to walls or slightly inside buildings so you're not standing out in the open as much. I'd encourage you to Valk a little sooner, most likely just after Tracer recalls. Normally, you'd prioritize cleaning the fight up before rezzing to ensure that no one else dies in the meantime, but since Soldier gets primal deep into the enemy, the res is alright to guarantee that you still have DPS since Soldier is, well, likely unsavable. You can take a quick second to heal Ana's missing HP. Keep some distance between you and D.Va. You probably don't even have to GA forward so that you have a wider perspective, and don't cut off line of sight of your Ana so that you can help her better. When Soldier shows up, he is the person you want to play with now. You should be positioned a bit further up as he aggresses. This spot between the bus and pillar would be good so that you can keep beam on him and be safe, aka not peeking main where the enemy has sightlines, and have a good escape route. When Blade comes in, just play to back up by either GAing towards Soldier and slingshotting that way, or super jumping upwards so you can still try to help the rest of your team retreat, and then you can GA to someone further back to get out. Try not to GA up so far. The point is already capped and it puts you in an awkward situation slightly later, where you're stuck on the right side and have to GA across the enemy sightlines. It's just better for you and safer if you remain on the left side. Tanks don't take too much damage, so you can keep damage boosting Soldier instead of healing them. Ana's also right there, so you're good. Be careful about following too close to Soldier when he's chasing the Genji. It's okay to help him clean up, but Genji could turn on you, so keep that in mind and have some caution. Make sure damage boost stays on Soldier. I don't think this Valk was necessary. Your team is up 1 and they're pretty healthy too. If the fight goes on and it's needed, then you can use it, but right now you definitely don't need it. About rezzing when there are sightlines. If you just want to be extra safe, you can start the res on the left side of the payload and move a bit backward to be in cover and not depending on your Rhine to protect you. This Glock is pretty ambitious. Personally, I would not do this, but I'm also more of a passive Mercy player. It just kind of feels unnecessary to try to kill him. His team's dead and he has to retreat or wait there. And when he retreats, there's a chance your team kills him anyway. I know you're trying to clean up the fight, but if you die to him, then, well, I mean, what's the point? Would also encourage you to stay on the left side in the choke point throughout Valk instead of going out where there's sightlines. You shouldn't play in the open if you don't have to. Try to play closer to the wall on the left instead of playing so wide. This will make it easier to back up and be safe when the enemy team starts pushing in. And it also reduces sightlines. Since the Nanoblade gets caught in Grav, you can stay in beam range to help put damage into Grav to try to secure kills. Need to be a little quicker swapping to allies who take damage here. You can also prep to get ready for Blade releasing from Grav by having your beam on whoever is in front, and most likely to take damage from it. So that's gonna be like Ana and Hanzo compared to Soldier, who is slightly further back. You don't have to wait until Ana is full health to swap to Hanzo. A good rule of thumb for this when two teammates are critical is to heal one up to the point where if they get hit once, they won't die, and then do the same to the other, and then just go back and forth until they're both healed up. This is called beam juggling. But since you don't do this, I would advise being a bit further up so that there's no delay between when Ana is full and when you swap to Hanzo. This is a general thing, but something I notice here and throughout the VOD is that you sometimes play a bit too far back and can't put your beam on anyone. This can be remedied by slowly getting a better feel for Mercy's beam. I know you normally play Ana, so you might not be accustomed to it yet, and that's okay. It's just something that you're going to have to start feeling out more. Also consider making short guardian angels when you need to play back, but also need to be in beam range still. Or consider working on beam stretching. But Ski, you might ask, what's beam stretching? Well, Mercy's beam lingers on its target for about 3 seconds when you're out of range. You can use that time to temporarily make Mercy's beam length more than it normally is, but you have to continuously walk in and out of range to ensure it doesn't disconnect. Normally, I don't think you Valk here because you're up in numbers and your spawn is like right there, but since there's only like 20 seconds left, it's okay. There's a slim chance that while you're aggressing in Valk to pistol for funsies, that you could end up dying and giving the enemy team a chance to potentially contest. So be careful, be mindful. Also, again, should be playing on the left to make it easier to back up if needed, rather than the right where you don't have to go a cross H. So team composition is roughly the same, but instead of Doomfist, you've got a Widow. You'll still be playing with Soldier mostly, since he benefits from damage boost more. Either try to get beam on Ryan sooner to help with healing, or stick to damage boosting Soldier, and then if Ryan dies, press him if there's an opportunity once high ground is cleared. But since you had to use Res on Widow earlier, which is just unfortunate, you won't be able to, but it would have been the ideal outcome. When you're backing up, try to keep beam on squishies unless your tank is below half, since Ana should be able to care for her since she's right there. Since Soldier is your pocket, pay attention to where he's going so that you can follow him main without taking longer than necessary to get there. When you play main with Soldier, play further back from him so that if they push him, you're less likely to take damage. When Soldier gets dove, you can attempt to heal him through it rather than swapping to damage boost. You can also walk backward out of range rather than super jumping closer and then taking damage like that. I can't believe they left you. They actually just left you in the dust. They got your Soldier and were like, yep, that's it. We're good here. Let's go. Keep your pistol out because it's likely Tracer is going to fight this. Try to take the health pack a bit later when you get slightly lower in health so you have more of a chance of winning the fight. But keep in mind that you don't have to win the fight. You just have to survive until your team gives you a sightline and you can get out. You don't have to wait out the reload for pistol. Just Valk when you get it. I don't think the animation interferes, but if it does, then yeah, what do I know? I can tell you're looking for the pistol. I can see it. I can see it. There's violence there. But I would encourage you to fly more near the left wall and help from there. It's kind of a reoccurring problem with your Valks where you're more in the open than you should be. You get the pistol, but it's at the cost of both things, and it doesn't really feel worth it, even though this like kind of ends up working out in the long run. If you heal Tracer halfway, then swap to Soldier and juggle between the two of them, Soldier shouldn't die. Stand on point to help Ryan cap faster. The enemy shouldn't be able to contest, and if they do, you can just super jump to get to high ground and be safe quickly. If you didn't pistol here, I think you would have been able to attach beam to Tracer. This is an unnecessary super jump, it doesn't really serve a purpose, and also puts you into the enemy line of sight for a bit, so just keep that in mind. You can pretty much just keep beam on Soldier throughout this fight, and then help Tracer when needed, and just leave tanks to Ana. Ana still has a decent sightline until your team goes all the way around the corner, so you should still be beaming DPS unless tanks get critical. You don't have to GA to the right side, you can stay on the left side near the wall and follow Soldier, plus you can use Ryan's shield for additional cover, or the building on the left. This also makes it possible for you to pocket Visor. It also allows you to keep your sightline on Soldier because you turn away from him and he almost dies. Either I'm a certified pistol hater and I can admit that I kind of am, or you have a death wish for other Ana players. I know it's tempting to pistol, but you'll normally find more value in mass damage boost to clean up the fight and ensure your team stays alive. I really am just a pistol hater, or just prioritize passive play. I mean, I do both, but Jing in front of your team to try to get the kill could be punished, whereas you'd be much better off damage boosting someone, letting them take the kill, and then moving up off of that instead so you can guarantee that you won't potentially die. Just in, you know, in case the unexpected happens and this guy just like two taps you out of nowhere. Keep to the left wall so that you're not peeking the main sightline. So, good news, everyone survives this grab. My only suggestion is to be more proactive and quick about juggling your beam to keep all 3 grab teammates with a better health pool. If Soldier had stayed alive and you didn't res the Tracer like we mentioned previously, you might have had enough time to res Ryan here. Guardian Angel ends a little too close to Soldier, so try to give yourself some more leeway. Hopefully while still avoiding taking too much damage from Bab. Don't waste your time with your pistol out that could be used to aid your DPS and get more value. Your Zarya also dies here, and there's a chance you could have moved up a tiny bit to help her, and maybe prevent her death. You want to reposition to left side earlier than you do since you're split off from your team and don't have as much pressure on the right side as you did before. Try not to play such wide angles that you can potentially take damage from when you could be playing close to the right wall and reducing damage intake. Once you Valk, try to put beam on Zarya, which should reach all of your teammates. When Ryan is hit with Nano, you can swap to damage boost as everyone is relatively full HP, and then flick to heal whenever necessary, but try to keep it to a minimum to finish the fight fast. And that'll be it for this VOD review. I hope this was helpful, especially for all of the non-Mercy players out there, and that you can start to improve on Mercy when you play her in your future games. I wish you good luck. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time.